Alright folks, welcome back to Delboy's Garage, and tonight I've got some more of this Scrim. This time is proper NATO Scrim with the proper label and everything, but it's the same stuff, exactly the same stuff as before, and it's going to go tonight over the back section. So what I've got to do, I've just pulled these off. I have noticed, I have done a check as the other day, was this one. What I found was that this was just doused in paint. If you remember, I just put glue, no resin, just paint, and that's hard as you like. In fact, it's hard in a better way than with the resin. With the resin, it was so hard it was kind of a bit dangerous. It's like a cheese grater and you would have hurt yourself. So this stuff is great. It's still got a slightly cloth feel, but a couple more layers of paint and that'll be fine. And that has stuck it. Well, except that ain't coming off at all. That really doesn't want to come off. So that's fine. It doesn't need resin. Resin's a really expensive way to do it. I've got to get that later. This time I've got a little bit of that left. I've gone and bought a litre this time. That was even cheaper per quantity, $9.99, but it's spirit based. So I just got some terps, and it's going to get that daubed on, which is going to set it solid. So tonight, first job, get these panels just isolated away a bit, because I'm only going to do these tonight, leave the tank to last. Got some fun plans with the tank. I'm just going to get these out of the way and do it in one piece. So these are great. These are supposed to be a 1 metre scrim, but I've checked them and they're kind of 5 foot square. So unless they're measured by some weirdo can't count, that gives me the ability to do it in one piece without a seam, which I kind of wish I'd had for the front, because the front has ended up with kind of a seam down there, which is alright, doesn't matter. Once it gets daubed in paint, that'll be fine, and that's perfect. But this I can do in one piece by just rolling it over the back, down the sides. Once it's glued on, I found that razor blading it off is really hard once it's been painted. It just doesn't want to know. The paint just, razor blade just buckles and bends, and I'm just definitely going to slice lumps off myself. So I'm going to put it on, then once it's glued on, then razor blade it back, get it cut and trimmed to size. Once that's done, then I can paint it. And again, I've got to paint it in time for the morning because I need it for work. It won't dry, but I'll just have to put some waterproofs on so I don't get covered in paint. There it is. Stick around, stay tuned, see how this goes. Right, I've kind of sliced it down the middle so that I've got like trousers, like a leg for this side to go down there and a leg to go down there, as they say in Essex. And that's going to look the best. I'm going to do it double because I can, because this was well cheap, £5 a sheet off the Bay of E. So it's just got to be stuck on. I haven't got a lot of this left, but I reckon I've got enough to do the back half tonight, and then I can trim it up later. So let's get this off, get it ready to just get laid on, like that. I'll get it laid on in a minute. Don't really have to scuff this up to get it laid on. It's not important. The surface is pretty sort of dull anyway. It's not too shiny, and the spray glue just sticks to anything no matter what. And once the spray glue is there, that's only to hold it. Once the paint gets on there and gets proper soaked in, that's just going to bond the whole lot on anyway, permanently, forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, and as well as that, ever. So let's get the spray glue on. That's what it looks like. Stuff just goes everywhere. Just keep thinking this is just about the daftest thing I've ever done. But hey, it's free almost, and it's just a bit of fun that doesn't cost anything. Plenty of glue. To be honest, a little bit more glue is better, because then it slides about slightly and you get a chance to move it. If there's just a little bit, it sticks instantly, it doesn't move. top layer will stretch. Oddly enough, this stuff doesn't stretch as much as the other Scrim, which was a kind of toy stuff, aftermarket kind of fake camouflage stuff, you know, the sort of thing you get. Whereas this is the proper, the real McCoy. Not sure 2 layers does work. And then blade it back later. I think 2 layers is all good. It's kind of sticking in between. Alright, that's it all on. 2 layers, just because this was a thicker product and it's a bit late to change it now. So I've just done 2 layers, which is cool. And I'm thinking with all the spare I've got, and another whole one of these, I may put another layer over that anyway in the future, so we'll see how it looks. You can't sort of take it off once it's on, so I shall see what it looks like when this is done. There it all is. Just got to get it pushed into the contours and let it set for about 10 minutes, and that's it. Now, last time I found it was quite difficult to cut it. Once you've painted it, it goes rock hard, and then trying to cut it and trim it when it's like plastic, it's just a nightmare. So I'm going to do it while it's cloth, just with a razor blade. I'm going to trim around there and make it look a bit tidier. Trim around the rear section and make a tidy job. See what it looks like. Kind of made it harder using 2 layers, but I want that effect, so it's worth the extra effort. This is a whole lot easier than messing about and trying to trim it once it's been resined. That just makes it rock hard. So lesson learned, people. You do it to your way, trim it up first. Now I've found, if you just spray a bit on it, it kind of keeps it there. Ready for paintage. And after a lot of faffing about, there it is. Trim the holes for the grab rails. Around the back, got it as tidy as I can. As tidy as it needs to be. It's tidy underneath there. Once it's painted black, you'll not see any of it. It's just the texture that's going to make. Now this front edge is a bit scruffy, so I'm just going to do a little bit of tidying up on that. But that's all bonded in, just lifted it off, little spray, touch it back in, just a little bit of care taken. And thankfully I've now managed to get one net across as opposed to what I did on the front where I had seams, but it's not important, it's only about, it's just a bit of fun. So now it's time to get some paint on it. It's got to have overnight to dry, so I'll start at the front with a reasonably thin coat because it's got to be dry by the time I sit in the morning, and I don't want to end up with black paint all over my leathers. So let's get cracking with the paint. It'll be interesting to see how this reacts. This is kind of spirit based, oil based terps. It's not cellulose or anything, it's literally just like your stuff you paint your house with, your woodwork. And oddly enough, it's going on a lot easier, as you can see straight away. That's going on lovely compared to the other one. The other one's that typical water-based emulsion paint. Comes out like a jelly. You only ever get a little bit on the brush. Takes a lot to load it up. Takes ages to spread. This stuff, this is lovely, and it's all experimental. There's no rule book for this. Painting cloth. The glue's kind of stuck it enough. The paint's very soft and very wet, so it just spreads in quite nicely. And I'm only putting a thin coat on, which will just set it. It will still be quite soft and material cottony in the morning, but it will have set and stuck to the bodywork properly enough to ride, and then I can coat it up a bit more tomorrow night. Gotta make a good job of it. You know me, OCD. Gotta be right, even if it looks stupid. Even if it's a pointless bit of fun. Do it proper. And this has only used less than an inch out of this 1 litre pot, so this is going to go a long way. It'll do the tank as well, and then I can do the whole bike. Just layer it up till it's even. What a silly thing to do. What am I doing? And there we go. As you can see, it's really wet at the moment and sticky, but I've dabbed it all in, giving it the relevant dabbage, so it's all stuck and there's no air pockets under it, which are then going to be set off the bodywork and look a bit lame. So that's that so far. Right, brushes. Just want to show you a little trick now. Now, first of all, obviously, when you're finished with your brush, just get the worst of what's on it and just kind of brush it out on something, just to unload the brush. Obviously I couldn't scrape like that against the bodywork because it will drag all the cotton, so just a little bit of chipboard here, and once you've got as much out as you can, it's got to go in the thinners. Now this is a little trick. My grandfather, when I was just a wee lad, he used to do a lot of fishing, sea fishing, and they had a clinker-built boat, a little wooden clinker-built dinghy about 20 foot long, and he used to brush paint it, and I used to watch him brush painting. He was brilliant at it, and he always used to have a little trick taking care of the brushes. He used to treat his brushes like royalty. Amazing. These days we just bin everything, but this is a little tip that I learned from him years ago. If you take your brush, and this is a tip for you, because my friend Milo in Milo's garage, he always gives you a tip for the day. So this is my tip for the day. This is for you, Milo. You probably know this already, obviously. What you got to do with your brush, drill a little hole there in the handle. Now, if you put the brush in the jar, it sits against the bottom of the jar and does that. And all the solids that are in the brush get to the bottom, to that edge, that cut edge of the bristles, and it all just clogs them up, and the brush is useless. It comes out curved and twisted and kinked, and the brush is just rubbish. It doesn't look after them properly. They just sit like that in the bottom of the terps. So get yourself a little bradawl through the hole like that, then put the brush in the terps, and the brush sits in the thinners but off the bottom, so all the solids sink to the bottom and they're harmless to the brush because it's above. And make sure you've covered the bristles. It's not quite on this one. I can undo a safety cap with one hand. Yep, just about. And all you got to do, top of the up, just up to the base of the silver metal part. So all the bristles are submerged in the thinners or terps or whatever, and I can just leave that in there. Now when I need to use that brush again, it will be straight, not curved, because it's been sat in the bottom of a jar doing that, and all the solids will be in the bottom away from the bristles. So drill a hole, little brattle, there's your tip for the day, like Milo's Garage. That is Delboy's Garage tip for the day. So that's it for now. I'm not going to finish this till the morning because I want to see if I can show you this dry. I'm going to pop those panels back in, pop the seat on and see if that's dry enough to ride. So see you in the morning when there's some daylight. And the morning after. Here it is. It hasn't gone matte, it's stayed shiny, but it is still wet. It's oil paint, a bit like you paint your skirting boards with, so I guess it will take a lot longer to dry, but it's good. Everything is good. Hasn't lifted off, hasn't reacted, hasn't lifted up the paint underneath. There it is. A bit more fun. So once that's dry, today it's wet, so it'll be interesting to see what a rainy ride to work does to it. I don't think it will do much harm because it's oil paint, not water-based paint as that is. So once that's dry, I'm going to put another coat. It will go matte because a little bit there I painted on last night has gone matte. As you can see, it's still sticky. This paint dries by curing or setting, so that will take longer. Emulsion paint dries by evaporation of the water, so it's a different process. It will be fine. Just going to put some thin waterproofs on so I don't get this on myself and get off to work. Carry on and do the tank tonight. So that will be up tomorrow. And there it is. A bit more silliness on Project Rat Bandit. Stick around. Stay tuned for the next one. Thanks for watching Delboy's Garage. Ride safe and I'll see you next time.